We were only married for 2 months,
Yeah.
and beforehand we were not staying together. Would he be able to make any claim?
Because your marriage is so short, chances are he's not going to be able to make a claim against that.
Oh, he's hiding upstairs, he doesn't want to come. He's only 6. It's so confusing for him. She's just not agreeable to anything.
It places so much pressure on the child. This is parental alienation.
She doesn't trust my granddad. She doesn't want my mum to see him. I can't have him at my house in case a relative comes over.
She's going to come very unstuck. None of those examples that you've given me are going to be held up by the court. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Legal Queen live show. I am your host, Tracey Maloney, aka the Legal Queen on social media. I am also a practicing family law solicitor and have been now for over 20 years. During that time, I've helped countless number of people with their divorce, finance and child custody questions, queries, help people make court applications, etc. If you have a question for me or a query, or maybe you're looking to make an application within the family court and you think you'd benefit from my help, by all means join me on my Discord channel, which is the Legal Queen. Come into the Legal Queen Lounge, pop your hand up and I'll get to you as soon as I can. Enjoy the show.
Hi, so I'm here on behalf of my partner.
Yes.
He's ongoing with the lawyers, with the advocates, with his ex, with a contact order and a maintenance order.
Yes.
So the main thing at the minute is it's been ongoing since kind of March, back and forth, back and forth. Initially, when they split, everything was kind of agreed amicably, and it was shared care, 50-50, completely down the middle, and he pays an additional £500 because there's quite a big income difference.
Yes.
He bought a house, so he had to reduce that to £250 because he just couldn't afford with the mortgage repayments.
Yes.
And then straight away, that's when the maintenance thing went in. He was like, I don't see the need for the maintenance order. I'm happy to keep paying £250, but then every time she kind of gets a letter from the lawyers in terms of a contact order, she will kind of kick off, you're not seeing him, I'll be picking him up from school, he'll be in my custody for the foreseeable. But she's just not agreeable to anything in the contact order. And every time the lawyers say something she doesn't like, or say I pick the child up from school, she doesn't like that, she stops contact. And because there's no order, it just goes back to the lawyers. It's more money, and he can't really afford to pay her maintenance and the lawyers. He's had to sell like annual leave to try and pay the lawyers. Is it quicker just going to court and getting it over with? Or do we continue through the lawyers trying to get it sorted amicably?
No, well, look, absolutely. I would go to court. I mean, when you say, shall we continue with the lawyers to see if we can do it amicably, I suspect that's never going to happen, Emily. You know, based on literally what you've told me in 60 seconds, Mum is just, and she's getting away with it because as lawyers, we don't have the power to force a parent to do anything. Mm-hmm. You know, I do lots of videos about, solicitors' letters aren't legally binding. And I'm always amazed at how many views they get because people think actually, what we say or what we write is legally binding and people have to do what we are suggesting with regard to children. But no, we have no power really. Well, we have none at all. So yes, if rather than waste money on the lawyers, and I'm disappointed that the lawyers aren't saying this to him. Look, pointless you keep paying my legal bill and me keep writing to her. We're never going to get this woman to change her mind. Let's just go straight to court. Let's make the C100 form, application using the C100 form. So yes, is what I would say. And again, if he wants to do that himself or you want to do it for him, Emily, to keep costs down, you can. The C100 form is very straightforward. You go onto the government website.
I filled out the form.
Great. So
I filled it out for him the other day when she declined contact.
So send it into court, pay the court fee, which is £232. Let the solicitor know you've done it. Like they won't mind. And then you'll just sit back and wait for 3 months until you get a hearing date. But clearly, if Mum is refusing anything at all, then I think court's going to be the only answer. Sadly, these applications are becoming more and more common, and it genuinely breaks my heart where mums just refuse to let dads have contact with their children. It's heartbreaking because ultimately it's the children that are missing out.
The handovers are quite difficult because like the last one was like half an hour. Oh, he's hiding upstairs. He doesn't want to come. And obviously he's only 6. He doesn't, it's so confusing for him. His mum's kind of overly mothering her, you can come
Absolutely.
back. And then dad's saying kind of, I'll bring you back if you don't settle. And then don't lie to him. You're lying to him. You're not going to bring him back. But it's completely 50-50. They're both his homes. But it's completely half and half. So it's just so frustrating because he would never go, oh, I'm keeping him full time, because he just it's not in his best interest.
It is definitely encroaching, if not all the way there, into parental alienation. And that indirectly placing the burden on the child. You don't have to go if you don't want to. And if you need to come back to me, you just let dad know and he'll bring you straight back. And what the other thing that happens is as well, when they come back, oh, mummy really missed you. I was really sad when you were gone. It places so much pressure on the child. And this is parental alienation, which is so sad. But yes, make the C100 application, get things moving. Right. It's not going to fix mum. Obviously, mum's character and personality is going to continue in the same vein. But maybe if we have a framework of contact laid out in a contact order, she might be a little bit more intimidated by that and think, well, if I go against the court order, then I'm going to be in trouble. So that might just encourage her to toe the line. It might not, but it's definitely worth a try. It's got to be better than paying solicitors constantly and getting nowhere.
His advocate is away for 3 weeks, and I'm wondering if it's worth waiting until she's back, just in case we do get a date, or just to review the C100.
You won't get a date in 3 weeks. You'll wait a good 3 to 4 months.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. But in terms of reviewing that before we submit it,
that's a matter for you. It's a really straightforward form. I'm not so sure that you're going to mess it up, but I'll leave that with you. That's his decision ultimately.
Yeah. Would we mention anything about because obviously there's a section with the risk of harm. Would we say anything about the alienation or?
Absolutely. Raise it. Yeah. I would raise it completely.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
No problem.
And would you give examples, or would you just give a brief? Brief
overview in the C100. This isn't a statement. Right. So just a very brief overview. And I think it says, just give a brief outline to the court of what the issues are. And keep it brief. Yeah. Really do keep it brief.
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's perfect.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's really, really helpful.
Okay. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hi, Tracey. I just wanted to inquire because I'm in the process of filing for my divorce.
Yeah.
We were only married for 2 months, and beforehand we were not staying together. So I just wanted to find out, with the financial order, would you be able to make any claims? Because I've literally had to put a pause on purchasing another property because I have another property that he was staying with me for the 2 months we were married.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if he will be able to claim anything on it as well.
Did you live together before you got married?
No.
So the legal answer will be that it will be anything that you buy is going to be a marital asset. Okay, so that's always going to be the starting point. However, because your marriage is so short, although you do have to be married for a year before you can get divorced, but because it will just be a year, chances are he's not going to be able to make a claim against that because this is a very short marriage. So you should be okay. And the other thing I would say is if you're buying a property so that you can live in it, does he have somewhere to live?
I'm not sure because right now there's no contact.
Okay. So, well, hopefully he does, because that's the only way that he might be able to make a claim. If he can say, look, I'm living on a park bench. If he's working, if he's got money coming in and he's able to look after himself, then you should be fine. He's not going to be able to raise something like, financial hardship and make a claim against you. He'd really struggle anyway because this relationship is just so short.
Okay.
All right.
So that includes, for instance, if I was to get a compensation from an accident, and if that comes during the divorce, would that be factored into the financial order as well?
Potentially, depends how much that would be. Potentially.
Okay.
Yeah, but as I say, it will be an uphill battle for him because the marriage is so short.
Okay.
I can't guarantee you is what I'm trying to say, but it's going to be very difficult for him is what I would say.
All right. Thank you
All
so much.
right.
I'm going to be in touch when
Okay.
I start filing because I have to wait 2 more months before I can file for the divorce.
Oh, okay. No problem. All right. We'll speak to you
Uh,
then.
all right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks. Bye bye.
So, a quick question. Firstly, thank you for everything that you do. You've been very helpful up to now.
Pleasure.
Quick question. I have got a child arrangement order in
Yes.
place. I made my C100 application on the 17th, or it was processed on the 17th of July. Um, this is the first time I've done anything like this, and I'm just a bit curious of. I think I know the steps of how it goes, but um, I'm a bit cautious about allegations, maybe. I know I've got no past record with the police, no social services record or anything. I've been there with him for the whole time. My son, sorry, I've got an 11-month-old son.
Yeah.
Um, his mom has been actively keeping him, trying to, I guess, say sever the relationship since we split up in January.
Yes.
And since then, he used to live with me,
Yes.
and so did she. And then after we split up, he hasn't been to my house since in January. She wouldn't let him. And she said, I can see him, but I have to see him in her annex at the bottom of the garden. So I had been traveling to her house. I didn't have a car at the time. So I'd do like a 4-hour round trip on foot to go and see him
Yes.
2 days a week for a
Yes.
couple hours. And so I'm hoping this works in my favor. I'm just a bit unsure because I feel like she may throw empty allegations out there. And I want to know if that's going to have an effect. In my application, I applied for 50-50 shared care.
So she hasn't put any allegations in as yet.
I don't think she hasn't actually, since we put the application in, I
Yeah.
haven't got my directions
Yeah.
letter in the post.
Right.
And so I assume she hasn't either. So she doesn't actually know. We've done mediation twice and there doesn't seem to be any reasoning.
Okay, so it's going to depend largely on if she makes allegations, and if she does make them, what allegations she's going to make. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, so I don't really. Is it going to impact your application? No, your application's still going to be heard, but it might impact the outcome of that application. So what I mean by that is, if you're asking for overnight contact and she's raising safety concerns, then the court's going to have to investigate them before they allow overnight contact. But I think where I'm a little bit puzzled, if mom raises allegations, is she's already allowing you to have contact. And allow isn't
Yes.
really the appropriate word, because it's not for her to allow you. You are the father and you have parental responsibility. There's a certain element of control here. And I think what you need to do is to make sure when you get to court, if she raises any allegations, that you address them with the court and let them know that, look, I have been having contact. Technically, she could argue it's supervised because it's in her annex. But she hasn't spoken to you, I assume, about any welfare concerns, or has she? I don't know.
No.
No.
Well, I thought that as well. I thought I had been seeing him. It's just under her kind of control.
Yes.
And that's what I want to step away from.
Yes.
So any time she's been made to justify her reasons as to my family haven't seen him since last year.
Yeah.
So anytime she's been made to justify these reasons, she's given like empty, meaningless reasons as to why. And that's
Got
what
you.
I believe she's going to take to the court. And I don't think it's going to stand up really. I just want to know how. I think they'll do like a fact-finding hearing maybe.
Well, they might.
I read up.
Yeah, look, the courts are at breaking point right now. So they're not just going to have a fact-find hearing because she raises allegations. This is where it's really important to look at the allegations that she's raised, if she raises them, and how serious they are. If she's just raising silly things, there's absolutely no way the court's going to allow a fact find, because they're expensive and, more importantly, they're time consuming. But let me ask you, why do you think she's going to raise allegations? Why is that worrying you already? She must have said something or indicated something.
Yeah, I have personally, I have no concerns in terms of my character or anything. It's more so because I know that she's going to have to justify her reasons for doing this, and I know her character.
I see.
She's going to have to think of something to say to make it seem like what she's doing isn't wrong.
Yeah.
And I can't think of any reason as to why she's doing what she's doing. I know I haven't done anything either, so I'm going into there with a clean conscience. It's just because, of course, I miss him. I haven't seen him
100%,
for a while,
yeah.
so I just want it to go as smoothly as possible. And I know that an allegation will delay the process. That's it, really.
Have you actually said to her, why can I only see him in your annex?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And what does she say?
Her reasons would then be her reasons would be something like she doesn't trust my granddad at my house. She doesn't want my mom to see him for whatever reason. And then she'll have an issue for everybody that I mention. And then for me, I can't have him at my house in case a relative comes over.
Wow.
And she don't want him to see the relative.
Well,
and then I can't take him somewhere without her being there.
Yeah.
So and then she can't allow him to come to my house. But then she took him to Ibiza against my consent.
Yeah.
With a passport I didn't even know that he had, as well. So it's very much, she thinks she is ruling with an iron fist.
Yes, absolutely.
And is his sole leader.
And I think she's going to come very unstuck, because none of those examples that you've given me are going to be held up by the court. You have parental responsibility. The court's going to expect you, when the child is in your care, to keep him safe and to protect him. And it is entirely up to you whose company you mix with when your child is in your care. Those examples are simply not going to wash. This is a typical scenario where we've got a mother who just doesn't want to give up control. She doesn't want you having the contact because she feels wrongly, in my view, that she's going to start losing the control. So I'm glad that you've made your C100. It's a shame that you've had to do that, but I'm glad that you have, and you just go through the process now.
Thank you so much. I think just quickly, I wanted to reiterate as well. Since he's been born, I've started 2 companies in his name.
Yeah.
Which she's trying to get me to change now since we're split up.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to, of course. But and one of them is with working with children in terms of helping them get their career path on the way. So these are things that I'm trying to install in him.
Yes.
These same morals and directions.
Yeah.
And I think these kind of things are also going to help my case. I'm DBS checked and verified as well.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to go well. I have no concerns, just the delays, because as you can imagine, I'm very eager.
Yes.
And the final question I wanted to ask was, I've applied for my C100 and it got processed on the 17th of July.
Yeah.
Do you know when? I think I have an idea of the timeline in my mind, but would you be able to quickly break down the timeline for me, including when I can expect my directions letter?
So the first thing the court's going to do is get CAFCAS to do a safeguarding check, which means a chat with you and a chat with mum, and just to make sure that there aren't any blocks in place. Should the parties agree at the first hearing that contact can go ahead, the court just wants to make sure that we don't have any domestic violence, any police information, that criminal records that we need to be aware of, so that the CAFCAS will cover that off with a safeguarding letter. Usually from when we submit a C100, we're getting our directions hearing date about 3 months later. So if you had it issued in July, August, September, October, you're looking at somewhere around October. The first one can be via Teams. It doesn't always happen at court. It can sometimes be via Teams because they'll only be about 30 minutes. Essentially, what the court's going to say is, right, we can see what you're asking the court for because that's in your C100. We're now going to ask Mum why she objects and why his dad's having to come here to ask for contact. And from there, we're going to sort out what we need to do, what homework we need to do in order to help the judge make a decision. And the most often direction made is that CAFCAS do a Section 7 report, which is where CAFCAS will then do a more detailed report, speaking to you, speaking to Mum, and feed back to the judge what the recommendations are. And then you'll be invited back for a second hearing, probably 3 to 4 months later, because they will be guided by however long CAFCAS is taking to do the Section 7s. And usually CAFCAS take anywhere between 12 to 16 weeks to do a Section 7 report, purely because they're swamped with work. Not because, they work on one report for that long, but they obviously have other families that they're working with as well. So that's sort of roughly what's going to happen in the first sort of 6 months.
Okay, and do you know when I'll get the letter from the court to say when, like, with the hearing date?
You should get that once your application's been issued. So the fact that you've been notified your application's issued and don't have a hearing date yet, I'd be ringing the court to say, has it been listed? I don't have a date yet. It's been issued. What court are you in?
Worcester.
Oh, okay. So not particularly busy. Give them a call. Give the court a ring and just say, my application was issued in July, but I haven't had a hearing date yet. Have listings been able to deal with that?
Okay.
All right.
That's it then.
Brilliant.
I think that's everything. The legal queen strikes again. Thank you so much.
Absolute
I really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Good luck with it all. Speak soon.
Thank you. Have an amazing day.
You too. Bye-bye.
So my ex and my middle son's father took me to court in 2021 to get a prohibited steps order to stop me from moving back home.
Yes.
A child arrangement order and parental responsibility of my eldest son.
Yes.
We ended up going through the courts. After a few months, he did decide to stop the parental responsibility. He said he didn't want that anymore. And he said that he was happy for me to move, providing I stuck to the child arrangement order, which obviously I'm going to do. He's my son's father. I would never stop my kids from seeing their father.
Yes.
I'll give it 2 months. I moved back home. He then got a new girlfriend. He's had a new child. He hasn't stuck to the child arrangement order at all. He doesn't ring his son. He doesn't ring me. He even changed his phone number to the point where I'm not allowed his phone number. I've got to go through his girlfriend.
Yeah.
His parents, I can't knock. They are amazing. They come down and see the kids. They take them away. He's just stopped everything. He stopped his maintenance. He stopped calling. He stopped speaking to the kids. Where do I go from here, Tracey? Do I take him back to court? Do I just leave it in limbo? What do I do?
So there is no point taking it back to court. I'm going to be completely honest with you, because we can't force a parent to have contact. Okay, so there is no point taking it back to court. But you still retain control. So what I mean by that is, if he isn't interested in having contact with the children, but then say in 6 months' time starts pressuring you to say, let me talk to them, you still have the ability to say, absolutely not. We're not having this ad hoc approach to contact. We're not having you call the children as and when you want to. If it's upsetting the children, if the kids don't care, fine, let him do that. But don't feel that, just because there might be an order in place, he then stops contact and then starts again, that you have to comply with that.
Okay.
But
that's what I was worrying about.
Yeah.
I was worrying about if he can now turn around and say, well, actually, she's not stuck to it. Or I've stuck to everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've tried to speak to him on the phone. I've tried to text him photos of when the kids go to school.
Yeah.
I've tried, sending him videos, and I get nothing. And it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just not interested. Maybe, and I say this with the greatest of respect, Ella, lots of mums do this, maybe you're doing too much. You know, sometimes
Yeah.
if it's being made too easy or handed on a plate, they kind of don't feel the need to do anything. You know, it's such a contrast, because I also have so many dads that are desperate for contact and will go to the ends of the earth, you know, traveling 300-mile round trips every weekend just to spend a couple of hours with their kids. And then, of course, the other extreme is the dads that just don't give a damn, really.
This is what gets me, though, you know. I mean, to me, he was never like this.
Yeah.
And I would have never had a child with him if I thought that he was.
Yeah.
I think it's the new girlfriend, which, to be honest, I know for a fine fact it is. And she's had this baby with him, and now it's like, you know, my kids are what? They're through on the floor. I mean, I even asked him for a little bit of help with regards to maintenance the other day to help get school uniforms. And I got a message back off her saying, what did she say? It's just not doable right now. You'll get some money when you get some money.
Goodness
And the
me.
only thing I could do was put a thumbs up and say, you know what? I will not ask again. I'm really, like, my kids want for nothing anyway.
Yeah.
You do, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think you leave it at that. Do you know what I mean? There's not, as I say, we can't force a parent to have the contact, which is a shame.
And is there any chance of, you know, taking it back to court and getting his parental responsibility removed, or is there just no point in doing that?
No, the court won't do that. They won't remove his parental responsibility just because he couldn't be bothered. It has to be something pretty serious before they'll go to those extremes.
Yeah, okay. So we'll just leave it at that.
Leave it like
Thank you so much, Tracey. I
Pleasure.
really appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Thanks, Ella. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
In relation to a financial order, can I ring fence some money not to be split? My mum paid the balance of our mortgage in 2021 due to my husband's illness and potential not able to work. He is now recovered and back into work. I'm wanting to divorce as the whole illness and caring has taken a toll on the marriage.
This one is going to need advice, Mart, because I don't know when mother paid the money into the mortgage, and I don't know how much she paid in. The reason that those two answers are important is because the value is important. Is this a significant value? If it's a couple of £1,000, we're probably not going to ring fence that. But if it's, you know, a large lump sum that actually mother could do with having back, then yes. But also, when did mum pay this in? You know, if it was recently, then we've got a stronger case. If it was 20 years ago, we've potentially got a weaker case because mum might not want it back or need it back.
It was 2021.
Okay, so that's not too far away. That was 4 years ago. And so then I'd only want to know how much it was. But yes is the answer. I mean, we can, when parents have given money, usually it's on a deposit for a property, and then the marriage ends in divorce or the couple separate. We're usually fairly successful in getting the parents their money back, but it does come down to how much it is and when they gave it. So she needs to get some advice on that one.
Good morning. I have a 2-year-old and there's an interim order that says the child should be made available for handover at a contact centre. However, Dad wants to change the contact centre so it's closer to him, but it will be more travel for us for up to an hour. What can I do? The previous order specifically said within the locality of the child, but the order unfortunately doesn't. I didn't think he'd change to accommodate him.
So we always have to be guided by the latest order that's made. So the latest order will always override any previous court orders. So that's the first thing I would say. Sadly, if the latest order doesn't specify that the contact centre has to be in the location of where the child lives, then it comes down to a co-parenting issue. You know, he's not saying we're not having it in a contact centre. He's just saying this contact centre. So she has two options there. She either accommodates Dad's request or she doesn't. And if she doesn't accommodate Dad's request, then the matter may have to go back to court. And it would be Dad that would take it back to court because it's in his interest to have contact with the child. I mean, Dad's kind of cutting his nose to spite his face here. I think the most reasonable thing to do would be to find somewhere halfway, you know, because at least then they're both conceding a little bit. He's doing a bit of travel, she's doing a bit of travel.
What impact will the recent Standish versus Standish ruling have finances in divorce?
Yeah.
Is a house owned by one party pre-marriage and lived in by marriage couple for less than 12 months matrimonialized?
Yeah.
If the house was only ever in one party's name and that party always paid the mortgage.
Yeah, so Standish and Standish is the case they're referring to, and it has an overwhelming impact on family law in that pre-matrimonial assets is going to be a lot easier to ring fence now. Before, where we had long marriages or we needed to bring in premarital assets because the marital assets they just weren't enough to be able to rehouse everybody, it was easy to do that. With Standish and Standish now, it's actually going to be very difficult to do that. So it's going to be easier if you have premarital assets to ring fence them. That's the point. Standish and Standish went a little bit further in that the complication in this case was that husband had actually taken his premarital asset, which was multi-millions, and had put them into wife's account. So we actually had a mingling of assets. And of course, wife's legal team argued at that point, they became matrimonial assets because they went into her bank account. The reason they went into her bank account is that she had a bank account in another country because she was a national in another country, and there was tax advantages for husband to do that. Anyway, the Supreme Court have upheld that no, even though there was mingling of assets, he was able to ring fence because they were premarital. It was millions and millions. And he was successfully able to argue. And of course, that passes down then to all matrimonial assets, which is great.
Brill, I think a lot of solicitors was watching that case very closely.
Yes, we were. We were, absolutely. Cheers, Mart.
Brill, that's all I got for you first.
Thank you.